Hello and welcome to this week's weekly psychic forecast video for week commencing the 15th of August 2022. How are you feeling after that weekend we just had? Now, I'm filming on Monday the 15th. I normally film before now, usually over the weekend, but the energies have been very, very rough on me. I've been feeling very up and down, very not with it, very dysregulated emotionally and energetically too. It's been making me feel very iffy indeed. So be very interested to hear if you've been feeling that too. It was a very big full moon that we just had. That super moon on Friday had a lot of impact on a lot of people. And I've been told by my guides that we've actually experienced a time shift. Those are the words I was given, so that's what I'm going to say, time shift. So there's some very big energy going on at the moment. And because of that, I've actually been guided to use some quite spiritual cards for this week's reading. So I've got the overview of the week laid out in front of us here, and you'll notice that I'll be using the Anubis Oracle, which takes me way out of my comfort zone because I don't normally use this one for readings for other people. Then we will go day by day, and there will be timestamps in the description below so that you can dip back in throughout the week as you need to. And we will finish up with a spiritual guidance message at the end, which is very, very interesting this week. So do stay tuned for that. So let's dive on into the overview of the week. We have our cards here. We have a consciousness of lack. We have karmic board clearing, and we have higher love and wisdom. So wow, whew, yeah, after the weekend we've just had some really heavy energy. There's a lot coming in, and I feel this is part of this week's message. Now, I want to start here because it feels as though many of us are feeling very down at the moment, like things are all going in the wrong direction, that we're powerless, that we cannot manifest the things that we want, we cannot create the things that we want. And certainly manifesting has seemed a lot harder for the past few years. I go as far as to say for the past 10 years, it seemed much harder than it did for the 10 previous. And there is a reason for that, but it's because the energies are shifting and changing. And it's not that we won't be able to create things in our lives, it's just that we have to approach them differently now. We have to do things differently. That's the lesson coming through very, very strongly at the moment. It is absolutely not to give up or, feel hopeless and think that we can't do things, that they're just not going to work anymore. We just have to approach it in a slightly new way, in a slightly different way. So we have this karmic board clearing, energetic clearing, rewrite your story, live your truth. So it is very much rewriting the rules of manifestation at the moment, rewriting the rules of our lives at the moment. And we are invited to do that and take part in it because we are not helpless beings. We are sovereign beings. We are part of God, we are part of the higher power that we all come from. You can call it higher, but the truth is it's just on a higher vibration than the one that we perceive right now. And Bedford agrees. Here he comes. Hello, Bedford. My cat's here. Yeah, he has a lot to say about this. He has had ever since the Lion's Gate. He doesn't normally walk in when I'm doing readings, but he does occasionally when he feels the need. So we'll see if he gets up on the table, because he might do. But absolutely here, and we're being guided to, I love this card, higher love and wisdom. Are you coming up? Come on then. No, you're not coming up. Come here. Come on. No, okay. So the higher love and wisdom card is very much guiding us into higher energies and teaching us that, we are evolving as a species. So the way that we used to do things isn't going to work anymore. It's very much that we have to create in new ways, coming from these higher vibrations, coming from higher love, coming from higher wisdom, and that we need to sit in that wisdom and let the new systems, the new ways of being, the new ways of doing actually come to us now. We have to write the story. We have to rewrite the story. We have to rewrite the rule book in some cases. And I think it's going to be a very interesting time for all of us. I think it's going to be a week, I think, that's going to challenge us on a spiritual level, but also in some very practical ways as well, because there is this very big sense of lack at the moment, and it's playing out in the outside world with prices of utilities being unaffordable, or where I am at the moment in England, all these water shortages that we have, despite the fact that we are a very abundant country when it comes to water and rainfall. We don't have a problem with the supply. It's literally what we do with it when it arrives. We're doing the wrong things with it, we're wasting it, so it seems like we don't have enough water. And that's very much the lesson here. It's like the abundance is absolutely there's plenty of everything. You just need to learn how to deal with it, how to manage it, and how to maintain those energy conduits to make sure that you receive. And that will tie in with the spiritual message at the end. So I do very much recommend that you listen to that. So it's going to be an interesting week, absolutely. And I would guard against falling into feelings of despair or worrying that we're never going to achieve anything, that things are only going to get worse from now, because they are absolutely not. And we must absolutely fight the urge to sort of think, oh, poor me, or fall into victim energy at the moment, because that is the last thing that we need. And that will actually take us in the wrong direction and become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we're going to look at Monday's cards now. So for Monday, we have number 2, energy, planning and action. We have the Akashic Records. And we have number 13, Osiris. Wow. Okay. So Monday's energy, it's all about rebirth and renewal with the number 13 and Osiris here. It is very interesting, and they're bringing in the energy of our past lives here as well. This card is about clearing old stories, releasing past lives, and freedom. Freedom, very much a key word for humanity, for the whole of humanity at the moment, for all of us without exception. And we are being cautioned here. We have to plan, we have to choose, we have to make some decisions now as to how we are going to move forwards as a species, as a human race. Because we can't just sit about and wait for other people to plan on our behalf anymore. Because in this new energy, that's not going to go well for us. That may have worked to some point in the past, but if you look at people, you know, in our societies from the past, the majority of people lived in servitude or in serfdom, or very much downtrodden lives, while very few sort of ran off with all the toys. And you know, this has been a recurring theme, and that's what needs to change right now. We have to plan differently, we have to do differently, and we have to stop abdicating our responsibility. We have to let that go now. And there is very much a theme today on Monday of actually releasing karma, letting go of our family's old story as well. So this could be a collective, I'm giving the words collective karma. I was going to say family karma, and then I got, no, it's not ancestral. This is collective karma that we're clearing today. So this isn't just for your family. This is for your collective, whatever that may be. Very much about releasing old habits, old ways of doing things, old literature, I want to say old guidebooks, or even seeing them in new ways. Seeing the old stories with new eyes. I think that's very important at the moment. But it is a very good day for planning generally on a much more concrete way, but planning new ventures, planning new things, planning things that very much align with the Aquarian energy, the energy of the new age of Aquarius. So not old-fashioned ideas of might is right, it's all about the money, you know, we're leaving those behind now. This is about planning and taking action steps towards much more cooperative goals, much more helpful goals, much more caring and loving goals, which can bring abundance of all sorts with it. You know, I'm not saying that you can't have the money. You absolutely can, and you should. You should have all sorts of abundance if you want it, because you deserve it, and there's no reason you shouldn't have it. But there is a little bit of a seesaw energy today, so you may feel yourself being pulled in an older direction, back towards an old career or old ideas, whereas new ones are actually opening up in front of you at the moment. So it's a case of balancing those and looking at what actually is coming from ego or from habit, and what's actually coming from that divine spark, from inspiration, what's coming from higher mind. Because there's a lot of information on Monday coming in from higher mind, coming in from the higher aspects of you, from your soul, from your spirit, whatever you want to call it. Very, very much aligned with who you need to be in this lifetime, with the words I'm being given. Now the cat's gone outside to meow. He's fine. He's just meowing from outside because he clearly has a lot to say. So yes, it is a day to really think about which direction you're going in, consider your options, meditate, contemplate. I feel it's a good day to contemplate, maybe read texts as well, because we do have this book here. I've been very drawn to some spiritual books that I've been contemplating today, and I feel that that's kind of guiding my energy in a new direction today as well. So that's something that I would suggest that you do. So we're going to move on to Tuesday now. Let's take a look at Tuesday's cards. We have a number 3, letting go. We have Lemurian seed codes. And we have number 5, the Sphinx, divine messenger, earth altar, cosmic library. Oh, beautiful. Wow. So Tuesday's energy, letting go. I mean, it's kind of encapsulated in this card here. It's letting go of what we thought was the old so that we can welcome back the even older. That's what I want to say with the Lemurian seed codes here. It is about remembering who we truly are, going back thousands of years, going back to the birth of time, the birth of matter, the birth of the universe. Very much remembering that there is this divine order in all things on Tuesday, and that may show up in some interesting ways in your life, in very practical ways. So it may be that you are literally considering letting go of aspects of your life that you want to completely change, remembering things about past lives, remembering wisdom from past lives. And this can just come through in the words of, I want to say poetry or maybe song lyrics today, because there's an energy of musical, there's a musicality to the energy coming through to me. It's very beautiful, very ordered, but in very beautiful and uplifting ways. And I feel like we are being asked the question on Tuesday, how can we live with more grace? How can we live with more beauty? How can we make this place, this earth, into an altar? How can we make it, and I don't mean a sacrificial altar, how can we make this into a more beautiful place, into a more sacred place? How can we honour all that we are? How can we bring that spirituality into everyday life and blend the two? Because it's not about trying to force one into the other. It's about finding where the two meet and how we can blend them in more beautiful ways, bringing wisdom into our everyday life, bringing sensitivity, our psychic ability, our empathy into everyday life, and actually creating the old world. But in order to do that, we have to let go of the old, and we have to let go of the things that are holding us back, trying to pull us in all sorts of different directions. And for some reason I keep going to the workplace in my mind, so this may be literally connected to your work, or it may be that governments are bringing in changes to how people are allowed to work, or it's recommended that they work today. So be very careful as to what you're being told to do compared to how you feel you actually want to be and how you want to do things. So I would say pay attention there, because we have got this very interesting number 5, which can be restrictive, but it can also mean a new adventure. And I feel there is an opportunity here for new adventure, and Bedford thinks so too. And we do need to break past old paradigms, old dogma, old systems and ways of doing things. And I think Tuesday is really going to highlight that it's time to create that new blueprint now. So we're going to move on to Wednesday now. Wednesday's cards. We have the Angels of the Four Directions. We have the Chamber of the Violet Flame. And we have number 1, Entering the Mystery. Wow. Okay, Wednesday's going to be kind of a spiritual day. There's some big stuff going down here energetically. Big, big, big. Now, this can play out in very mundane ways. Okay, you may find the miracles, you may find the wisdom actually in your everyday life. And I'm just going to shut the window so Bedford doesn't try and climb out of it because he's an idiot. And there's a very much a flame of purification coming through here with the violet flame. Here he comes. Here he comes. Thanks, Bedford. And a new way of looking at things, a new way of doing things. But the Angels of the Four Directions are, these are very powerful archangels. This is Archangel Raphael, Michael, Uriel, and Gabriel. And they are here to assist humanity, and they will very much assist us in magical working, in any kind of psychic work that we want to do. Thank you, Bedford. But Bedford just reminded us that we don't always need to appeal to them for help, because we actually have all of that in us already. And it's just a case of stepping into the mystery, stepping into our full spiritual selves, so that we actually remember that. So that we actually remember who we truly are, and let go of some of that karma of thinking, oh, I have to bow down to somebody else and let them do it for me. Somebody else is more powerful. Somebody else or something else knows better than I do. I always have to ask somebody else's permission or for their knowledge. Someone else has to teach me. This is very much about channeling the wisdom directly from higher self, from source, because we are all connected to it. No one is better or above the next person, as Bedford's reminding us here. Thanks, Bedford. Yeah, we get the message. I'll take this card away. He wants me to move this one. Clearly, he wants that one to go. So it's going to be an interesting day, I think, one where we are asked to remember who we truly are. And it's interesting because that is one of the cards that I wrote recently. I'm making a little oracle deck for myself at the moment, which is just a little handmade thing here, which I'm writing messages on the cards to create for myself. It's just as a little addendum for me, and I might publish it at some point. I might not. We'll see. But very much remembering how powerful you are as a sovereign being. Yes, the angels are there to help us if we need them, if we ask for their help, but we can also help ourselves. We are not helpless. We absolutely can do way more for ourselves than we remember. We just have to, on this card, remember, start the spiritual path or continue the spiritual journey, and we will feel far more empowered and far more able to actually make those choices in our lives, and then we will see the results actually playing out in the world around us as well. And we will remember that we're not helpless waiting for someone to implement some agenda or other, and that there's nothing we can do about it, because there absolutely is, way more than you could ever have guessed. So we're going to move on to Thursday's cards now. So if Bedford hasn't knocked them on the floor, Thursday's cards, we have loss, we have Pleiadian activation, and we have number 6, right timing and direction. Wow. I think Thursday is going to be all about divine timing, and it may not look very pretty because we have this lost card where it feels like all is lost. Things aren't going how we want them to. There's definitely a sense of disappointment that comes through there, but it's coming through for very good reason at the moment. And we have this Pleiadian activation card, really beautiful energy. So this is coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. This is actually the becoming of man, I want to say. This is the becoming. We are remembering who we are and becoming what we truly are, entering into those higher time codes, entering into those higher energetic codes. And if my words aren't making total sense, it's because I'm partly channeling at the moment, so bear with me on this one. Just see how those words feel with you, see how they resonate, even if they don't make total sense. This is, it's interesting. With this card, I'm very drawn to a memory of a film I watched called All Is Lost, about a man, I don't know if you've watched it, it's Robert Redford, I think, goes off in a boat on his own, just, some sort of pleasure trip, and everything goes horribly wrong and he ends up, nearly drowning. I won't spoil the ending for you, but I found the film rather frustrating to watch, and sometimes I wonder if this is what it's like for, like, the Pleiadians or other star beings or more evolved beings watching us, because I felt in the film All Was Lost, everything that happened was his own fault, and I felt it should be renamed All His Own Fault, because it was absolutely 100% his fault. Everything that happened, it was all his own fault. And I found it rather a frustrating watch. I was getting really annoyed. And I don't like disaster movies anyway. They kind of get on my wick a bit. I think it's a bit gratuitous sometimes, but and I think this is what we need to remember in this lifetime, is that most of what happens to us is all our own fault. And yeah, I know that's a bitter pill to swallow, and it's not very nice to have to look at some of the time. And believe me, I don't want to hear that most of the time, but this is part of our transformation at the moment, realising that, oh, that was my fault. I did that. And yeah, it sucks when you have to realise that, but at the same time, it's also very freeing. Okay, it's also very liberating and very empowering to realise, oh, I did that, which means I can choose to not do that, or I can do something different. That's incredibly empowering. And I think timing seems to be coming on our side at the moment as well. It feels like energetically, timing, and I always talk about divine timing and things happening in divine timing, but it feels like we can really get on track today. We can really get energetically on track and start moving in the right direction if we choose to take responsibility for it, if we choose to work together, if we choose to listen to our intuition rather than just our ego spouting nonsense at us, if we choose to truly accept our our wings and spread them and fly. It can be a very, very beautiful day, but it is going to be very much a day of highs and lows. And I want to just draw attention to the number 2 here. It's very much a day of number 2 energy. So it will be a day of extremes, and that may play out on the international or national scene. There may be conflicts, there may be opposing views or opposing groups actually fighting quite a lot on this day, which is silly, because if you're fighting someone who doesn't agree with you, that's really a futile exercise, because they're not going to agree with you just because you decide to beat them up. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me that people would do that. And why does it matter what they're doing anyway? Why does it matter what somebody else's choices are? How does it affect you? Because most of the time it doesn't affect you at all, apart from your ego. Your ego might say, hey, that's not fair, you took my boat away. Well, you didn't tie it up, mate. You know, the tide isn't to blame on this one. Take some responsibility, look in the mirror. And I think that's a very strong message coming through today. It's a message a lot of people on Earth are not ready to hear at the moment, but for many of us, we absolutely are ready to hear it. We are ready to sort of embrace our courage, grasp it in both hands, grasp the nettle and move forwards, taking full responsibility no matter what. So it's a very, very exciting day. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the wider world and on Twitter in particular. So we're going to move on to Friday's cards now. So pop that back in my little angel pot there. Friday we have fear. That comes in on number 5 energy, which can be a fear of adventure. Inner earth, base chakra, strength and security, laying foundations. So that's 4 energy. And Thoth. Number 9, wow, real hermit wisdom energy coming in with illumination, the architect of wisdom, enlightened communication. Wow, this is very interesting. And for Friday, I actually want to talk about internal communication. I want to talk about our inner monologue. And I feel there may be a sense of resisting adventure here. And you know, in the hero's journey, you've probably heard of the hero's journey, where the main character goes through a specific number of steps. On one of those steps, the first one I think is a call to adventure, and then the second one is where they reject the call. They refuse to go. They don't want to. You know, we see it in many films in popular culture. It's a very common step that the protagonist is invited on an adventure and decides they don't want to go. No, that's not for me. That's too difficult, too hard, too scary, whatever. And that's what I feel for Friday. It's a rejection of the call to adventure. So I feel very much that that our higher self, our soul, our spirit, the star nations are inviting us on an adventure today. And it's a journey inward. It's very much a journey into the self, into the kundalini and into the wisdom that lies within the body, I feel. So there's a connection here to the DNA, to the human body and things happening there. So it may be interesting to see what's actually showing up in news stories on Friday, because there may be somebody trying to subvert us learning about who we truly are at our very essence, I feel, on Friday. But there's certainly a sense of fear of not wanting to change things, wanting to go backwards, or wanting to maintain the status quo at all costs and absolutely reject the future, I want to say, which is a terrible place to be, because you can't reject the future. It's going to happen. It's going to become the present, and then you will have to deal with it when it arrives. So it feels as though there is a huge opportunity here. This is a great day for meditation and contemplation, prayer, spiritual practice, magical practice. I want to say shamanic journeying would be very good on this day, particularly if you're looking to connect with a spirit guide, a new spirit guide, a spirit animal. And I have actually used the spirit animal deck for our spiritual guidance message at the end, so that's an interesting little coincidence there. Of course, there are no such thing as coincidences. There are only synchronicities. So I think it's going to be an interesting day, but we can really get to grips with new levels of our spirituality, I want to say, on Friday. Really getting to grips with new levels of communication. It may be that your psychic ability is being heightened. It may be that your communication skills are improving on Friday. You know, on a very concrete sense, you may find yourself better able to communicate with people in the workplace, in your family, in your life, even on Twitter, you know, where you may find the most crazy, ridiculous people. And yet you still find a way to find that calm, find that kindness, and a way to actually communicate clearly with them, so that everyone can truly understand and not misrepresent you or misunderstand you. Because some people will literally seek to misunderstand you on purpose, but that's because they're coming from fear. That fear of who they are, and fear of what you are as well. So I think an interesting day. There's a lot of wisdom abounds on Friday and a lot of fear of that same wisdom. So try not to listen to the naysayers if people are being negative about new ideas that you have, new path that you want to follow, any new projects or new spiritual projects that you want to start. Don't listen to the naysayers. They are only coming from that place of ego fear. They are coming from a very ancient part of the human brain, which is actually the reptilian brain. That is on overdrive on Friday. So try not to fall into anxiety or fear when you're faced with this exciting new journey of self-discovery. So we're going to move on to Saturday now. Saturday's cards, we have Joyous Fun. Oh, look at that, I'm in. We have Hathor Light Codes, Light Immersion, Full System Upgrade, Power Recall. Now that could be exhausting. And we have 15 Set, Shadow, Adversarial, Ally, Trickster. Now I have a confession to make. I actually like trickster energy. I enjoy the adversarial ally, the shadow that steps in to play tricks on us, and it can actually be very fun if we know how to take it, if we know how to actually deal with that energy. We don't have to see the trickster energy, the one that tries to trip us up and, you know, catch us out. It's not not an enemy in any way, shape or form. It feels like an adversarial ally. I love how they've worded that. It's very much on your side. It's making you look at some very difficult things about yourself. And I feel that may be the case today. There may be some very difficult people in your life or difficult influences, experiences. And this could be in your everyday life, like your family, in the workplace. This could be your government being adversarial, making, pushing you, testing you, testing your limits. But there is a reason for that, and we don't have to see it as such a serious or terrifying thing. We can actually treat life as a game, and that's where the wisdom's coming on. We've got a very wise number 7 on the Joyous Fun card, and there is the reminder here of beginner's mind. Approach with beginner's mind. Don't approach with all of this baggage and all of these assumptions and all of this karma and all of these other things that we love to carry, and this clever ego mind that says, well, I know best, so I'm going to answer this question, I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to always come from fear, and oh my goodness, everything's terrible. Okay, we can actually turn life into more of a game. And I'm very drawn to the wheels here, these big wheels. They kind of look like big fans or flowers. And of course the big wheel in the background. But it's a reminder that it's a ride, it's a game, but also that life is cyclical. Okay, and we are very much at the end of a cycle at the moment. The whole of humanity is at the end of a cycle, and we are trying to grow, trying to ascend, trying to prepare for the next phase, for the next cycle. And this is why we are having these huge upgrades, we are having time shifts, and this is what we're going through at the moment, which is so challenging on a physical and emotional level. Can be very difficult, but we're having a full systems upgrade. This is very, very big. It cannot be rushed. If you speak to anyone in IT and they're doing some sort of upgrades on the computers, don't rush them. They're not going to appreciate that, because they know that if something goes wrong, they have to uninstall and do it all over again. Okay. Don't try and rush the process. There is absolutely no rush. This is about implementing sacred changes, about bringing more light down onto earth, because that is what's happening. And it's also pulling back in aspects of the fragmented self, fragmented aspects of the soul. So soul fragments are literally going to be coming in on Saturday, and it'll be as if like missing pieces of you have suddenly just slotted back into place. And you remember how to do things. You just instinctively know how to approach situations, or you may find that it's a person that comes into your life and it feels like a piece of you that was missing has actually showed up in the form of this person, of this connection that you've made. A very, very interesting day. A very intuitive day. I would say try to rest if possible, or do something fun. Try not to do anything too difficult, too serious, because there will also be exhaustion in the system, which always comes with any kind of upgrades. And don't be afraid of it as well, because some of the upgrades may be unexpected. I want to say some of the changes that may show up in your life may be unexpected. Really throw you for a loop. This is kind of Uranus energy here that's coming in, Aquarian energy. It's, well, you weren't expecting that, were you? Kind of energy from the universe. And again, it can be trickster, but the trickster at the end of the day is very funny. The trickster is hilarious if you know how to understand his sense of humour. And I would encourage you to try and see life's challenges with a little bit of humour. And goodness knows we need more of that right now because humour is dead. Have you been on Twitter lately? I have, which is why I keep talking about it. I actually got banned the other day. I have zero idea why. I think it was probably a mistake because I made a post about a shooting star, and the next thing I know I've got a permanent ban, and I was like, what? So maybe it was that word that they didn't like. I don't know. Anywho, it's a strange place. I thought it was funny. Again, it was, it felt like trickster energy to me. And I laughed. I just thought it was really, really funny. But there you are. We live in a strange old world at the moment. But being able to laugh about things, being able to see the lighter side of life, that is so important. And that's what literally helps to bring in more light when we take life more lightly. Okay. So we're going to move on to Sunday's cards now. Sunday we have number 5, the loving man. Ah, isn't that nice? We have the Venusian Galactic Council, star being guides, answer the call, time to shine. And we have 0, the dove, the initiate, innocence, trust. Wow. Beautiful energy. We have the divine masculine. We have the divine feminine in her most cooperative form, absolutely beautiful. We have the divine masculine in his most loving form. And then we have infinite potential with the dove on 0, the initiate, before we've even started. This is a super sacred day, I want to say. This is kind of like a super sacred Sunday. Very beautiful. Also a very beautiful day on a more practical level for romantic relationships, for platonic relationships, just for getting along. I feel it's almost like this is the day that the masculine and feminine actually have a chance to come together and find new levels of harmony, a new way to coexist, a new way to cooperate, a new way to come together. And it's a very beautiful energy. And I think we can really use this energy to bring back the yin and yang together, to bring back those sort of dual energies together, and to remind us that, you know, we are very much all one. We are not separate, we're not different, although we have differences. And it's interesting, we may find this on a very practical level between men and women, but, you know, also on an individual level between the masculine and feminine energy within the individual. You know, we all carry both of those energies, like every single one of us, you know, regardless of sex or gender identity or any of these things. You know, it doesn't matter. We both carry both energies. And it's a case of understanding those energies. And I think a lot of people, particularly our younger generations, have been very consumed by obsessing over the masculine and feminine energies and not fully understanding them or integrating them. And this is a day where we actually have an opportunity to do that, to truly understand them on a deeper level without making everybody else responsible for making us feel comfortable with our gender identity or whatever, for example. You know, it's not for other people to make you comfortable with that. That's for you to deal with. That's for you to feel comfortable in your own skin. But it feels very much as though many more people will be able to find that peace within. Because look, we have the sun and the moon together here. We have the day and the night. It's coming together. The separate energies coming together. This is a day for humanity to be learning that, yes, we are oneness incarnate in human form. Yes, we have the whole of the universe within us. Yes, we carry the masculine and the feminine energy, and that's okay. All right, we don't have to, put a mask on. We don't have to wear a particular label. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And it's a very beautiful call. Again, there's a call to adventure here as well. There's a call to action. There's a call to illumination. I want to say there is a real call to study. So it may be a good day for spiritual study, or just to spend time learning more about other people and about how other people live, who they are, and a real desire to truly understand each other on a much deeper level, which will bring more harmony to the world, which is exactly what we need right now. But it's a very, very beautiful, very potent energy that you can work with on this day. Very beautiful day for manifesting work. It's a very beautiful day as well for any kind of spiritual practice. But I want you to remember to bring in the male and the female aspects of the energy, regardless of your tradition or religion or system that you're working with. Remember to bring them both in. because they will both work best together on this day. This is a day of unity. This is a day of new beginnings, a day of holding out the olive branch, okay, to the other person. This is a day where we can bury the hatchet, we can find the common ground, and we can finally put some old arguments to rest, whether that's on an individual level, on a national level, on an international level, you know, on a community level. Howsoever it plays out, it is a day where peace finally seems to become possible. Of course, it was always possible, but it will just appear more obvious now. So we're going to move on to our spiritual guidance message for the week. This week we have Turkey Spirit, number 61, Give with Gratitude and Grace. We have Thoth Light Codes making a second appearance for the second week in a row. And we have Responsibility. And this is what it all comes down to. And I want to go right back to the beginning where I was talking about manifesting and taking full responsibility for everything that happens to us, full responsibility for everything that we choose, everything that we do, every time we act or react, every time that we take any kind of action or non-action, which is also a choice. And there is this very strong reminder this week about gratitude. And I just want to pull a card from the little spirit oracle that I created, because this is really an important message, and this came through to me today. Just going to try and find it. So here we go. Here it is. So gratitude isn't about being small. It's about opening your arms wide. Okay, and that's on a number 17 of Illumination and Hope. So I wanted to talk a little bit about gratitude because it's very, very easy to misunderstand what gratitude is and what it isn't. And we hear it a lot kind of in like New Age circles or with manifesting. And I just want to say, you know, a lot of the religions of old were portrayed to us in such a way that we felt that we had to kind of bow down and be lowly, and that we weren't good enough, and that we had to be grateful for any small crumb that was given to us, you know, or any tiny amount of grace that was permitted to come into our lives. And the teaching now is very, very different. As we go through these time shifts that we're experiencing, these huge upgrades and light downloads, it is an initiation that we're going through at the moment, and we are relearning, remembering, if you like, just how divine and how powerful we truly are as human beings. And that's not to say that from a point of ego or from, you know, a lack of modesty. Absolutely not. That's not what I mean at all. It's just simple fact. We are incredibly powerful beings. We just forgot that for a little while. And gratitude is about feeling the love and celebrating everything that there is in the universe. And when I say that, I'm literally holding my arms out wide. You can't see me because I'm off camera, but I'm literally holding my arms out wide. My heart chakra is wide open. I want to go to certain yoga positions that open the heart chakra. You notice I wrote this card in green, which is the colour of the heart chakra. Like the cobra, I think, which opens very much the heart chakra. Gratitude is about opening your heart, opening your arms to receive. It's not about going, oh, I'm a poor little lowly earthworm. Oh, I'm grateful for this tiny crumb I've been given. No, it's opening up your arms wide and going, yes, thank you so much, God, Goddess, universe, I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the beautiful blessings in my life, the way you've given me all these opportunities to create such a beautiful world, such a beautiful life for myself and for the people around me. And that's what I want to talk about when it comes to gratitude. It's not about playing small, it's about playing very, very big in the most beautiful and loving way. And I feel that we are really starting to learn that in very new and divine ways, and it feels as though there is an opportunity for learning here, as if we are being invited on an initiate's journey. We are being invited into the labyrinth now so that we can learn more about ourselves and no longer fear what lies within us, what lies within our wisdom, within our power. There's no need to fear anymore, as long as we choose to take full responsibility for all of our actions and to remember that that ultimately always lies with us. Because we are creatures of great depth. We really are. I've never pulled this card before. I've never seen depth card before. This is a new one on me. I wonder if my guides are playing with me now. But yes, the deep waters, dive on in, dive into the emotion, dive into the knowledge. It's time to dive in now. And I feel like we all have this huge opportunity right now to actually increase our knowledge, regardless of where we are, who we are, how old we are, where we find ourselves located, what resources will we believe we have access to. This is coming through in the form of light codes at the moment. This is coming through in the form of those upgrades that we've been having. This is the purpose of the time shifts that we've been experiencing. It's as if we are now being allowed to exist out of old time and in the new time, which is very, very different. The new time starts now. So just one last tiny card, truth. Yes, very beautiful. We are finally learning the truth about ourselves, questioning old truths, learning what is truth and what isn't. That's going to be a very big theme this week. Where does the truth actually lie? Because very often the truth is absolutely in plain sight. And the dark powers who have been in control in this planet, they always put the truth in plain sight and then leave it up to us, up to our responsibility to realise that they've done that, which is a little bit unfair, but if you didn't know. But the truth is always there in plain sight. Sometimes it's just a case of reading something slightly differently. You'll see the words, but the tone that you're reading it in, or the intention that you're reading it in, if you just change that, just tweak that a little bit, all of a sudden it reveals the truth that's being laid out in front of you, and then it's our responsibility to choose how we act moving forward. So keep your arms open wide, your heart even wider, and I wish you a very blessed week. If you made it to the end of the video with me, please write the words turkey spirit. Why not? That's a bit of fun. Turkey spirit, everyone. And I would love it if you could please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, share this video with a friend. Please do share this over social media to anyone who needs these messages at this time. Please do leave me a comment as well. You know I love to hear from you, everything that you have to say. Remember to like this video, and I will see you all again soon.